Good evening, Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we have a great show for you guys today, as this is our Friday show. So we'll be wrapping up the games from this weekend and then looking on to the weekend. Our first game that we're going to be talking about in the first segment, of course, is that Thursday game between the Oilers, between the Oilers and the Stars. That was the Wednesday game. Thursday game would be the Rangers and Panthers. That's our second segment today. I know the days. It's all blending together right now with these playoffs. All these games have been so great. The third segment we'll be talking about the hockey calendar and if there is a problem, as they announced today, the Stanley Cup final schedule, and now we're looking at it. And these days are moving very closely together, especially when you look at the off-season dates as well. So we'll talk about all of that in the third segment. Our fourth segment today, we'll be talking about the AHL and the Calder Cup semifinals that just got underway last night. There are four great teams in there that I want to talk about. And then our fifth and final segment will be me previewing the three games ahead of the weekend and my predictions for those three games. But before we get into all that, as always, if you would like to help support the show even more than you guys already do, if you could use the GSMCpodcast.net tips and donations link, that would be greatly appreciated. You guys could put a question there, and I'll put the question at the top of the list. Make sure that I read it, and it builds a greater community bonding for us and you guys. So with that all being said, and as I struggle to talk here, we're going to get right into our first segment, talking about the Oilers and the Stars, as the Oilers were able to dominate the Stars after a pretty disappointing pretty disappointing first half to the first period by the Edmonton Oilers. They got off to a slow start in this one. The Dallas Stars go up 2-0 very early in this one, and then Oilers 5 unanswered goals. Fire back in this one, and they are able to win this one, making it a 2-2 series tie going to this game 5 that is currently ongoing tonight. As always, I keep you guys up to date with the scores that are going on based on the time of the live stream that we do this podcast. These games are happening as I do it. And right now, we see the Oilers ahead of the Stars, 1-0 in that game. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins got a power play goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Funnily enough, that was my biggest factor for the Oilers going into this game and going into the rest of the series. They need to start producing on the power play, which they just haven't. They had not scored a power play goal up until the first goal of this game, and that was a big red flag for me because they had such a great power play. Their power play was, and we didn't stop talking about it, it was around 45% for the first two series of this playoffs. And now they slowed down in this series, didn't get a single goal on north of 10 attempts here against the Dallas Stars. But a power play goal in Game 5 is a great way to start that one and is very promising. It's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the goal in that one. But going back to Thursday in this Game 4 between the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers, a little bit of the game breakdown. Wyatt Johnston opened the scoring with an absolute snipe over Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner had a rough start to this game, as it has been, his story of this playoff so far. It has been very disappointing for Stuart Skinner, but we'll see if he can kind of bounce back. Hopefully, Stuart Skinner is able to help out the Edmonton Oilers more than he hurts the Edmonton Oilers, he has been the problem for this team this entire postseason. We talk about it so often. He is one of the worst goaltenders in the expansion era in a postseason. And it just continues. And it looked like it was going to continue in a horrible way as he let in two of his first 6 shots faced. At a point in this game, had a 6.67 save percentage. That is horrible. So was able to bounce back in this one. That's really great to see. But not before the Stars doubled their lead with an Issa Lindell shot. This wasn't Stuart Skinner's fault. It was a shot from Issa Lindell that's going to go 5 feet wide, but it hits Darnell Nurse's rear end and ricochets into the back of the net. That's just such an unfortunate goal for Stuart Skinner. There's nothing he can do there. He's giving that goal up 10 out of 10 times. So, you can't predict that happening. You can't predict the ricochet off of your own defenseman's rear end. But nonetheless, it happens. It's fine. He bounces back from that, though. From that point on, he doesn't let up another goal in this game. So very impressive what Stuart Skinner was able to do here, able to turn it around, put those 2 early goals behind him, and plays very good hockey down the stretch in this game. The Oilers gave the Stars a taste of their own medicine in this one, as it was in Game 3 that the Edmonton Oilers go up 2-0, and the Dallas Stars were able to fight back with 3 goals unanswered in the second period. This one, the Oilers do it a little bit earlier. It's the first period the Oilers were able to make the comeback in, down 2-0. Then it goes Ryan McLeod with a goal for the Edmonton Oilers that opened it up off of a rebound. Ryan McLeod got the rebound off of a Corey Perry and Darnell Nurse assist. So it's Corey Perry's first assist of the postseason. It's very impressive, or not very impressive. That is very important. Seeing that production from your fourth line is going to be important for this Edmonton Oilers team. And Darnell Nurse's third assist of this postseason. Not an offensive defenseman by any means, but you're looking for him to do a lot more than 3 assists. It's been disappointing, especially playing on the line with Evan Bouchard, who has been so great offensively. Speaking of Evan Bouchard, he gets a goal here with a very, very impressive McDavid assist. I would be shocked if he didn't mean to do this. It was Connor McDavid coming down the wing. Evan Bouchard's on the far side. Connor McDavid sees that he cannot make a pass to Evan Bouchard, so what he does was he takes a shot low, and you could tell he takes a shot low on purpose, and it goes off of Jake Onger's pad right to Evan Bouchard, and Evan Bouchard tucks it away nicely from the far side there. Very, very impressive by Connor McDavid. You could really tell he does it. The reason I say you could tell that he does it because he shoots at the low pad. Usually if Connor McDavid is coming down the wing and is going for a goal, he's going to shoot in the upper half of the net. He's going to elevate the puck at least a little bit. He's clearly going for that low pad on Jake Onger to get the puck to slide across, or maybe a five-hole goal. Either one would have been good for the Edmonton Oilers, and this one, definitely the Evan Bouchard goal, was a nice was a welcome, part of this game. The Edmonton Oilers go into the second intermission now tied instead of down 2-0. Such an impressive turnaround that they were able to do. Very, very. It says a lot to their mental fortitude. It is huge for them to be able to do that. We were talking about how that Dallas Stars comeback could have been very it could have been just a death wish for the Edmonton Oilers. You go up 2-0 home ice on Game 3, then give up 3 unanswered, fight back, and then go and give up their fourth and fifth goal like that in the third period. I mean, you had that game and you had the comeback, and you were able to, put a valiant effort into that one, and they were just not able to get that win. So very unfortunate for the Edmonton Oilers in that Game 3, going down 2-1. But in this one, they show a lot here, especially going down 2-0. You have that bad comeback in the first game of this home set, and then you give up 2 early goals in the second game. That could get very scary for you, especially going down 3-1, going back to Dallas. But they're able to fight back here, and it's in large part from a Matthias Janmark shorthanded goal from Connor Brown. They combine for a cross crease breakaway, shorthanded goal, and then 1 minute later, it's Leon Draisaitl who finally gets back on the score sheet. He scored the opening goal in this series, hasn't been seen on the score sheet since, and he's back in a big way. Gets assisted by Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid has been lights out in the past few games, and he is the first player I would love to highlight in this one. 3 assists in this game, 5 shots on goal for 3 points. He was all over the ice. This guy doesn't need a score to make a difference for his team. It's very reminiscent of, and this is a little bit of helmet scouting, very reminiscent of what we saw Wayne Gretzky do with his teams. Yari Curry and Mark Messier were beneficiaries of how fantastic Wayne Gretzky was, just being able to assist on so many goals, especially in the playoffs. But for Connor McDavid now, he's doing the kind of same things that we saw Wayne Gretzky do when he was on his tear. So very, very impressive from Connor McDavid. 3 assists in this game. He already has an assist in this game 5. I mean, what more can you say about him? He now is the points leader in the playoffs. We were talking about how fantastic of a playoffs Leon Draisaitl was having. Now Connor McDavid is the one leading the way for the Edmonton Oilers, and is the best player on planet Earth for a reason. It's really not a dispute anymore. There's been times in recent memory where you could talk about a Nathan MacKinnon, you could talk about maybe a Nikita Kucherov, but it absolutely is Connor McDavid, and this playoff run is showing that. So the Edmonton Oilers have a 4-2 lead going into the third period, and then they were able to shut it down. Large part from this guy. He finally gets on this sheet on my top 2 players in the game, and it's very impressive. Stuart Skinner has not had a good postseason. He's actually had an abysmal postseason. It costed the Edmonton Oilers on plenty of occasions. You have right now the top 4 leading point getters in the playoffs. You should be by far and away winning these games, but they're not doing so because of this man. So to get a performance like this out of him, where you're kind of winning because of him and not in spite of him, is very, very important for the Edmonton Oilers. 20 saves on 22 shots against, an above 900 save percentage in the playoffs is always going to be welcomed, always going to be needed, really. We're talking about a 27 saves on 30 shots against is what you really want to see. That's your 90% save percentage. He does a little bit better here. So impressive work by Stuart Skinner. He puts in a good shift on this game and really helps the Edmonton Oilers. Now we got Game 5 that is currently ongoing. The Game 5 as the Edmonton Oilers take a 2-0 lead. It's another power play goal for the Edmonton Oilers. When it rains, it pours. 2-0 Edmonton now against the Dallas Stars in Dallas. That is a huge goal for them to get. Second power play goal in this game. That came 1 minute and 6 seconds into the period. That's really rough to see for the Dallas Stars. 2-0. That's been the kind of a tale of the last few games here. So let's see if the Dallas Stars can make another 2-goal comeback here in the second period. So power play goal by the Edmonton Oilers as I keep an eye on that game. Now in their Game 5, up 2-0. That's huge for them. As I said, or as I talked about in my shorts that I made a little bit earlier, the team that wins a Game 5 goes on to win the series 80% of the time in a 2-2 series going into the Game 5. So we're going to be talking about that when it comes to the Rangers and Panthers in our second segment. But right now, the Edmonton, and they score again, 3-0 now. Philip Broberg scores for the Edmonton Oilers. It is 3-0. We're gonna go to our second break before another goal, or we're gonna go to our first break before another goal breaks out in this game. So that'll wrap it up for the Edmonton Oilers. Game 4 is what we were talking about. Game 5 is currently ongoing as I keep you guys updated to that. When I come back, we'll be talking about the Rangers Panthers Game 5.